Hello everybody, welcome to my channel Soul Health with Nurse Blue. And guess what? I am Nurse Blue and I am here to live up to my name. That's right, baby. I'm here to build you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to unite us because we need to get connected. I am here to empower you. Empower you about my favorite subject. Hopefully after this, it's yours. I need you to get on this bandwagon. It's called Soul Health because Soul Health is where you will find the solution. So for those of you who are managing a health outcome right now or a medical condition, and you're trying to improve the outcome, maybe you're trying to avoid a health challenge because it runs in your family and you want to align yourself with natural modalities, then yay, good. Soul Health is the solution for you. I'm going to invite you to do a couple of things, 3 things. Number 1, I'm going to invite you to give me a thumbs up, please. Thank you. I want to ask you also to subscribe to my channel because I have so much good stuff for you, honey. I have so much love to give you. And also, I want to invite you to share this with somebody because there's someone, perhaps a friend, a family, a family member, somebody you work with that needs to know about Soul Health with Nurse Blue. And everybody needs a Nurse Blue, honey. Everybody needs a nurse that is supporting them on a soul level. Okay, so now that we got all that squared away, let's talk about it. Honey, welcome to April. I know it got here real soon. It did. That's because for the last 90 days, honey, we've been going through. Ever since America, our administrations have changed. There's been a lot of drama happening in all of our lives because we're navigating changes. And every time the president puts forth another executive order that is impacting the lives of people, we are all feeling it. Some are feeling it more than others. And I have been feeling it as well because, you know, at the end of the day, we're all connected, right? So the best way I can support you is first and foremost is making sure I build, love, unite, and empower us because that is the healing formula. But also, this April, this is what we're doing. We are springing into radical self-love. That is our theme. Put it on a mirror, write it down on a notebook, journal about it, radical self-love, because radical self-love is really the only thing that's going to keep you balanced where you're not impacted by all of this craziness that's happening because there's a lot of craziness is happening right now. And if you want to see your health decline, let this chaos get inside of you. Let that stress level increase. Let that fear level increase. And you're talking, and let me share this with you guys. I'm not just a nurse that is coming on here to support you. I am also a person that has managed chronic stress and anxiety for 50 years. Can you believe that? I know it's kind of hard to believe, right? But yes, for real, like in the womb. That's what we're talking about. And I've never had to take a medication to control it, right? Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I'm happy I didn't because that's why I could give you some modalities to support you. And although it did result in a autoimmune deficiency, quite frankly, living with that kind of chronic stress for many, many years in toxic environments, I get it. And what I can simply say is Soul Health is your solution. And if you truly want to master having power, love, and a sound mind, then here's what we have to do. We have to make sure that we give ourselves the opportunity day in and day out, protect our energy with radical self-love. Okay, so with all that being said, what does that look like? That's going to look like a really great thing that we're here to talk about right now. You want radical self-love. What does that mean? You want more of my favorite thing. And what I'm asking for my birthday this year, I don't need another party. Honey, I've been partying. My family was in the entertainment industry. If it's anything that we know how to do is party. I have partied for my birthday in the Caribbean. I've had some incredible gifts for my birthday. I really have. From beautiful jewelry, beautiful experiences. My 40th birthday, my sister, I have an older sister who at that time had given me a birthday to celebrate the entire weekend. It was absolutely wonderful. Have done that, have had joint birthday parties with one of my dearest friends, have been given a home. Can you believe that? I was blessed on my birthday with a home, and actually blessed on my birthday with an engagement. God has been good, right? But this year, what I want to achieve is something I've never been able to achieve in all of the years that I have been on planet Earth. This here is something that not only do I want for me, I want it for you. And I want us. We're working together on this as we build love, unite, and empower. We are working together on this one. This is the best gift of them all. This gift is actually priceless. This gift is the gift that keeps on giving. Do y'all know what gift this is right now? I told you, it doesn't have to be a party. It doesn't have to be a home, jewelry, none of that. What is the one gift that's priceless that could beat all of that, what I just told you? I don't care what the experience is. What is it? Peace. Peace. That's what I want. That's what I want for me. That's what I want for you. And that is what we're doing this year. You want to decide to thrive? Because remember, we started this year off with that. We made a decision to thrive. You thrive not by how much money you have. I mean, if you have a lot of money, you could be thriving in your business. But if you have a lot of money and you have a health challenge, it don't matter. You're still not thriving, okay? You thrive by how much peace you can maintain in your life. Because when you have power, love, and a sound mind, you have peace. And that is the present that we're going for. You see, that's another level to the freedom frequency. Last year in the Soul Health and Wellness Club, we focused on joy, right? Because I had never really experienced sustained joy. And last year I experienced sustained joy going through some difficult times now, okay? I didn't say I wasn't going through difficult times. I said I still was experiencing joy. Because joy is something that will sustain you. It doesn't matter how good or how bad the times are. You can find joy, okay? But peace is the next level. So as I was really doing some deep diving, because this is an important year, guys. This is an important year for me on several levels. Number one, I'm closing out a cycle, right? So as you're closing out a cycle, that means you're ending chapters. That means you are the version of you, the version that I have been that has helped me to get to this point where I'm having this conversation with you. I am closing out a cycle because a new version of me has manifested. And in order for me to walk in the authority, walk in the power, walk in the level of love and in a sound mind, I had to close out this cycle, right? Because that's how it works in life. Close out one chapter, open up the new door, open up the next door for the next chapter, right? Which is a beautiful thing. But this chapter here, one of the things that I have been negotiating with my soul about was how to close it out, right? Like I was really trying to avoid having to do what I was being urged to do in my spirit. How many of you there's something that you hearing in your soul, you hearing in your spirit, but you running away from? Because you know that if you go here, if you go here, on the other side of this could be a situation where you could lose relationships, okay? Right? On the other side of this, however, is how you is the opportunity to open up this new door, right? And so my soul has been telling me for quite some time, which is why I even created Soul Health and Wellness Club in the first place. My soul has a story that I've been negotiating with sharing, right? It's a powerful story. It's a story of victory. It's my own story. And the reason why I've been negotiating with myself in terms of not sharing it is because how many of you were told as you were growing up, you were programmed. Remember who our programmers are: mother, father, teacher, preacher. Well, mine is also, I had some siblings who was a part of my programming, okay? And part of my programming, number one, I was taught to obey. What happens in this house stays in this house, okay? All right, so that means you never talk about what's happening inside of your family with others, right? Number two, I come from a family that held a prominent name in the Chicagoland area, in the entertainment industry, in the media business. So that's definitely something you don't do, because you got to keep the family name, right? You got to hold up, you have to hold that up, right? And my family's name was tied to, or is tied to, a business that has served the community in Chicago on this day, April 1st, 1964, and makes 61 years, right? And that business is, it has been God in our family. It wasn't supposed to be, but it was. It is in many instances, not necessarily for me, but at the end of the day, it has been 4 letters that has controlled the nature of my family my entire life. 4 letters. To some, it's just, a radio station that they listen to at some point, maybe might be familiar with. But 4 letters controlled the dynamics of my family in such a painful way. W-V-O. Yeah, it served it in a beautiful way and in a painful way. So we've had the benefits of it, and we've also carried the burdens of it as a family. And I lived in so much conflict around sharing my story. I lived with so much internal chaos around sharing my story. And in many ways, like I said, I've been silenced from telling it, but I'm here because what I do is share tools to help you who might be struggling as well, being shackled to shame, shackled by shame. And that is why many of us are not living in peace, because we have been shackled by shame. So today is going to be one of those conversations. It might end up in tears, because when you shackle by shame, how do you find peace? You tell your story. You expose a part of yourself that you've been taught you don't go there. You become naked in front of the world and say, you know what, this is who I am. But at the same time, as I'm doing that, as I'm giving myself permission to do that, I'm giving myself the greatest gift I guess I could ever give. And on the other side of this is more peace. And so, guys, as we look at what shame is a shackle, because what shame does is it disconnects us from our power. And I would say my shame, I have a better relationship with shame than I do any other emotion. Largely because shame was something that I really believe, I can't prove this, but in my heart of hearts, I truly believe that. I believe that that's what my mother was carrying. That was the vibrational frequency that she was on when she was pregnant with me. Pregnant with me in her womb. And the reason why I say that is because I have a family that is emotionally disconnected, right? That's how a lot of people survive. You're you learn how to compartmentalize your emotions by shutting your heart down. And so my mother always, and one of the ways that we process hard wounds in our family is through laughter, by making fun of it or creating a funny story around it. And so for people who really know us intimately, they know that we're funny. I have a humorous side. My dad was funny. My brother, my sister, all of us are funny. It's just one of the family traits, right? I'm surprised none of us were ever comedians. But needless to say, there was this funny story that my mother would talk about all the time, where when she was pregnant with me, she was up in age. She was in her late 30s, and she did not want to be pregnant. And I could not imagine being a woman who did not want to be pregnant, but you were being forced, because my dad wanted me here so bad. He wanted for her to have another child, right? And my mother was struggling with that, because not only was she older, but also my mother was in what a lot of people find themselves in, a trauma bond where on the outside, the relationship was perceived to be one thing, but on the inside, it was a toxic environment. And it was at that time, and my mother and I have had conversations about this, and it was at that time that she didn't want to be pregnant, because she was really thinking about, she didn't want to be married anymore. And so things happened, obviously, and she got pregnant. But just growing up with that sense of being a child and not being wanted, you carry shame. I would say I was actually born with a hole in my soul that I've been looking to fill my entire life. And that hole comes from when you are denied the unconditional love that every soul should have access to from their mother. It's the same feeling that people described when they have been, when their mother maybe abandoned them, right? Where they had their mother for a short time and she ran away from home. Or the one feels when your mother may have died early. You had a wonderful relationship with your mother up until a certain point, and she may have been diagnosed with something like cancer or lupus, and her life was short-lived, and you live with a hole in your soul, the same kind of hole that may happen when you have a mother that gave you up for adoption. And even though you may have been adopted by wonderful, wonderful parents who, no one is perfect. Maybe, they had good intentions. And even though they may have given you everything, you still live with the hole in your soul that your mother gave you up. And that hole, you always, at least in my case, and the people that I've talked to, you're always looking for something to close that wound that is really, we'll call that wound worthiness. You're looking to close that worthiness wound. And the world that we live in, because of our programming has taught us that when you don't feel like you are enough, because most of the time, people who are born under those circumstances will feel that way. Not unless of course, they had a caregiver who may have served as in that maternal role, where they never felt like they were missing that love, right? But if you did not, then that wound could sometimes be a gaping hole. And we're taught to fill that wound in so many ways. We're taught to fill that with relationships that look like love, but it's lust. Sometimes we're asked to fulfill that by becoming successful and finding your worthiness in the work you do. So that's why my dad had actually suffered from a similar hole in his soul because of the relationship he had with his mother. And I think that's why he, was really attracted to building a big name just to receive the love he did not get at home. And becoming a workaholic, building his identity of worthiness based on his work. And I carried the wound for many years, and hearing that story over and over and over again, where it was laughed about, where it was something that I had to laugh at to keep from crying, to keep from feeling the conflicts that come with not only your mother telling you that she did not want you, but also laughing with it with members of your family, and it being a part of a regular conversation around, when you bring up stories in your household, right? And then later on, I realized that there's something else that I had been hiding. So you heard me, I mentioned that my family's business, WVON, has been around for 61 years. April 1st, today, is the birthday, right? Well, I have so many wonderful memories of serving through WVON, being able to touch the lives and souls, the life and souls of the people who allowed me to play a part in serving them. That was probably one of the best opportunities of my life, to see how what God has given me could support others. And it actually introduced me to my own heart, right? But it was 20 years ago that I actually left Chicago. And, a number of people, most people, when they ask, well, why did you leave Chicago, right? Or those of people who know me, they would say, oh, she left Chicago because she got married, right? Well, that is true, but that's half the story. I left Chicago because I got married, but the reason why I was also leaving Chicago, I had met a gentleman, and I would say in less than 90 days we were engaged. Less than 6 months we were married, and everything took off really, really fast. But the reason why I was taking off so fast, because quite frankly, I thought that was my way out. It was my breakthrough that I had been praying for, because for so many years of my life, I was going to my second home, which is my family's business, and behind the scenes, I was being verbally abused. I was being emotionally abused for many years. And my parents knew it. My mother knew it. Would never, ever say anything about it. My father chose to stay out of it. And this was a very complex situation, because the person who I loved the most in my life, with two people I loved the most in my life, was my father, because he fought for me to be here, and I always just kind of felt so safe with his presence here, being around him, right? And my sister. I have a sister who's 11 years older than me, and many people who get this or who see this have maybe even have a relationship with her. But I love my sister more than words could even express. I mean, at one point in time, she was like a god to me, right? But it really was under her authority as my sister and as my boss that I went through a lot of abuse. And out of everyone around us, employees couldn't say anything. My mother never said anything, because remember, I was the one who wasn't wanted. My dad stayed out of it, and I couldn't see myself working at another radio station because I was there to serve my family. I couldn't see myself working at another company, because then that could possibly lead to, well, why did she leave the radio station? So what I did was, I met a gentleman who it appeared that we were on the same page with what we wanted in life. He had a beautiful little girl. I love children. And it just made sense that this was the next chapter of my life. And so it was my way out of of a situation where I just could not see how I could survive, let alone thrive in it. And now that I have released that, not in an attempt to hurt anybody, because I've forgiven it all. You know, the beautiful thing about what this soul health journey has done for me is I've taken the last 20 years, because I left Chicago being a very broken woman, not knowing hardly any of what I know today. And that road of self-discovery, that road of hardcore healing, soul breaking, has led me to be so effective in the work that I do now. And one of the wonderful things that I've learned that unfortunately has poisoned the spirit of my family, I learned the beauty of forgiveness. The last 20 years, and many times, I've had some great moments, but I know what it feels like to experience hell on a soul level. I really do. And I just want to say that to be able to come in front of you right now and tell you that it really wasn't until I was able to remove myself from a toxic environment, where I was able to see the soul toxins that I was carrying inside of me, that I was projecting, hurting others, and being able to see that it wasn't just me or even my family, but it was the fact that we had not been introduced to what soul health was all about. I mean, much of what we're talking about here is all spiritual. And so these lessons were more so about how do we take authority of our bloodline, and some of these spiritual lessons that were being transferred over to us on a soul level, where emotional and verbal abuse isn't something that we continue to pass on to the next generation. I had to learn how to break that inside myself, because I also, because of the shame that I was living in, was living with so much fear, living with so much stress, living with so many lies, so many internal conflicts. I mean, just the fact of living in a family that has a business where you are empowering families, and at the same time, everywhere I look, there's war in my family. I came into the world and it was war with my mother not wanting me. I lived through a lifetime of seeing both my brother and my sister born on the same day, never having a healthy relationship. I lived to see my father's business partner in this same radio station fighting the entire time. Then my brother and my father in a court battle. And even with with him leaving us 3 years ago, can you believe we still in the middle of a damn court battle? So what I have learned in 50 years is that shame creates shackles. And there's nothing to be ashamed of, because all of us have some brokenness in our families. And I ran away in a broken state to do the soul work, to become whole, and to love my mother and my sister and my father and my brother and the entire experience. Because what they taught me and what it has taught me that no matter how much hell you put me through, it only taught me to reach high, to get to know the Most High, and to become whole. And if that is the lesson, then it was all worth it. Because soul health was the story, that was the path, that is the reason why Nurse Blue exists. So everybody did their job, even me and my state of brokenness. I was being who I was at that time in order to get to who I am right now. And just sharing this has brought so much damn peace to my life. So I am absolutely excited about this month already. And so as we learn how to radically self-love, what gave me the confidence to even share this story with you, what keeps this light inside of me and allows me to remain victorious beyond darkness, is the work of learning how to align your soul with love, peace, and joy. Release what does not serve you. So we release to increase. And also how to love my ECS back to health, which is the chief operating officer of your body. Because for a person who has lived in nearly 50 years of battling fear, battling chronic stress from living with lies, living with conflicts, living with shame, it was through the power of the ECS that I was able to reverse what would have been generational curses of disease in my body. It was coming for me, but I've been able to reverse it. And if you are ready to release, like I just did a piece of it today, and I'm going to continue to be a servant to do it over and over and over again. If you want to release years, lifetimes, generations of shame that has been passed down to you through your bloodline, if you are the curse breaker, then soul health is how you do it, sweetheart. Soul health is when you do it, and you will find peace. You're going to find love, and and that sound mind, honey, it is returning to me unlike any other right now. I am feeling my birthday gift right now. Do you hear me? I love my ECS. Touch your head and say, I love my ECS, because she is helping to maintain balance in your body. Give yourself a hug and say, I love my ECS, because her receptors are all throughout your body. And guess what Lady E does not like? Lady E is her name. Lady ECS. Lady E does not like shame. So if you want to avoid high blood pressure, if you want to avoid, somehow preventing, if you want to prevent a stress-related disease, then get rid of the symptoms of dis-ease in your soul. And a symptom of dis-ease is shame. And so right now, I'm no longer ashamed of the fact that my mother did not want me, because it's okay, I'm here. My dad wanted me. My dad and my Heavenly Father wanted me. And now she does love me, because she understands it was necessary for me to be here, right? And I am so thankful for who my sister has served to be in my life, however she has served. Because at the end of the day, I would not be who I am today without her full participation in my processing of life. And all things happen together for the good. So I forgive and I release. And now that door is open. Okay, everybody? Now, if you want to learn more about how to radically self-love this month, if you on this path where you like, I want to become the best version of myself, I want to reverse the curse of disease, I absolutely deserve to have more peace, love, and joy. I'm ready to go to the next chapter of my life. Look, whatever changes happen in the United States, I need to get myself in alignment. Right now, then I invite you to join me for the I Love My ECS 5-day challenge. It's going to be taking place this month, April 14th to the 18th. So I'm going to attach the information. Make sure you click the link and get the information and save your seat, okay? Because I'm only working with a few, but this is well worth it. Now, for those of you who want to kind of get started right now and learning about soul health, wonderful. I want you to go to IamNurseBlue.com. I Am Nurse Blue has all of the resources where you can find out about the Soul Health and Wellness Club online community, as well as our sound studio. You can sign up for one of our Blue Soul experiences that's going to be happening on Clubhouse. Look, just jump in, dive in, because we are releasing everything that don't serve us. And shame will no longer be my shackle, and it's not going to be yours, okay? So out with shame, up with peace. All right, guys. If, in fact, this touched you in any way, if you can identify in any way, if you have any questions, please put your information in the comments, and I'll make sure I get back to you, okay? All right, bye-bye.